Okay, we're going to walk you through quickly here doing lessons 12 and 13. In lesson 12, we learn about using keys in our code and how our code reacts to keys on the keyboard going down, and we can have whatever we want to happen on the screen um, happen um, by the control of a conditional. For example, if the key, if the space bar is pressed, then we want this to happen. We want a sprite to move. We want any type of property to change. And then in lesson 13, we'll get to in a second, we'll take a look at mouse movements. So starting off here, and I'm going to go through each of these. You can pause the video at any time to see how the code that I wrote, and you could apply it to your own. Now if I have uploaded animations or created animations, you would have to do that on your end and make sure they're named the same. Okay, so here in this code we have this key down. Okay, the key down block is the first set of blocks that will let us get input from us. So what happens when the key down? So this key down space, what happens when the space bar is hit? Now this text is going here at this location 200, 200, and it is centered. Okay, but when the key goes down, it is true. So this text right now is false because my spacebar is not pressed. When I press the spacebar down, then I get a true statement. Okay, because this is, in a sense, a conditional. The condition is being met. The spacebar is being pressed. Okay, lesson 3. Now this is actually going, this is a little more complex than yours. I've added a hippo, pig, rabbit, giraffe, bee, fly, turtle, and I've named them all appropriately. Okay, but I just have one sprite, and right now my sprite is set to a giraffe. You can look through my code, and every time a different key is hit, if I hit an H, it changes the animation from a giraffe to a hippo. P for pig, R for rabbit, G for back to giraffe, B for a bee, F for a fly, T for a turtle. And I could just go around and start hitting random keys, and when I hit those keys, it'll change the animation based on my code. Okay, so when the key is down, when it is pressed. Okay, again, you can pause this at any time. And notice within within these functions, we have to pay close attention to our open and close brackets. I have an open bracket on my draw function. And then for each conditional, okay, notice parentheses and brackets. Okay, an open bracket on my first conditional, a close bracket here. Okay, if at any time you're going through your code and it's not working, you're getting errors, you can't figure it out, feel free to email me, screenshot it, copy and paste it, and I can take a look at it on my end. Okay, so now in the last one, we changed the animation and what happened. Again, I have done a lot more on mine than you will do in yours. Okay, let's take a look at everything we have. We have one sprite. The sprite is set to a ladybug. Okay, so what are all the different keys that are going to change what happens on my screen? A right arrow, left arrow, spacebar, down arrow, up arrow, B, S, R, L. Okay, all those will change something. The right arrow will move, so the bug x equals bug x plus 10. The right arrow will move my ladybug. Same thing with the left arrow. Okay, spacebar will reset the position of my sprite. Down arrow and up arrow will change the um, vertical alignment of my sprite. The B will change its scale to an increasing size for bigger. S for smaller will reduce its size. R will rotate right. L will rotate left. Okay, so the first, right arrow, left arrow. Now one of the things that I've done is when I press that left arrow, notice that my sprite changes direction. How did it do that? It doesn't do it automatically. I had to create a second left-facing sprite. So ladybug right, ladybug left. Original, ladybug right. When I press the left arrow, ladybug left. When I press the right arrow, ladybug right. And I can create more. I can face for up and down. I can create new animations as well. Okay, but this is just the arrow keys. Okay, uh-oh, I lost my ladybug. Here I can hit the space bar and it will reset. Let's mess with bigger and smaller. B key changes the scale to a larger size. S for smaller. Okay, and then my R and L are set to change the rotation. Now if I move and I reset, it does not reset the rotation. If I wanted that, I would want to add that up here. Moving on. Okay, this is a simple code. I have not done a lot to it. Multiple sprites though, and so I have an orange fish, blue fish, and a green fish, but all of them react a certain way to when I hit the left arrow. Okay, they all move at different speeds. The blue fish is faster, 3 pixels at a time with the frame rate, 30 frames a second. Orange fish, 2 pixels at a time, and then green fish, 1 pixel at a time. And you can see that they go at different speeds when I press the left arrow key. Okay, but since the left arrow is the only key here, I cannot reset them or move them to the right. I would have to add that in here. Okay, here are these rotations. I have not done anything to this, but you guys can figure that one out. Okay, this is my ladybug scene again. And this is my ladybug scene again. Okay, again, you guys can pause it at any point, look at my code. I do want to go through this quickly, so I don't have a 2-hour video here. Moving on to lesson 13. So again, lesson 12 is about keyboard input and how any chord reacts to what we do. Okay, at any time, okay, you can scroll over your toolbox, click on See Examples, okay, and you can see all sorts of different ways that you can use the keyboard. Okay, here we have a, looks like a telephone. Moving on to lesson 13. Okay, lesson 13, going over mouse movements and also not just when a key is pressed. When we did key down in the last lesson, like it says right here, it does certain things when that key is held down. Okay, so we're going to take a look at key went down, key went up. And again, pause this at any time to look through some things. We're also going to take a look at visibility and if-else statements. Okay, first one. This world.mouse, basically what this does is it allows the object here, this bx equals world.mousex. What that means is wherever the mouse is, that is the sprite's x. Wherever the y is, world.mouse.y, or world.mousey, that will give the sprite value to wherever your mouse is. So anywhere I put my mouse, that is where the object goes. Okay, this is the same thing. Watch the video. Okay, if-else statements. Okay, you need to read through this. Okay, this is on the cheat sheet. This if-else statements are no different than what we did in the first unit. Okay, if we state the condition, okay, and if the condition is true, then we want a certain thing to happen. When we present it with the else, okay, that is when something is false. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some different lines of code and how we can change those. Okay, so here we have gears that are rotating and we have a full conditional. Okay, I have 3 different sprites, a blue gear, green gear, red gear. Okay, and what's happening? Now, if the key down is, if the space bar is pressed, okay, if key down space, what's going to happen, I'm going to press space, notice that the rotation of the gear is all changed. Else, that's what else means when space bar is not pressed, okay? So that means at all times then, these gears are going to be rotating. Notice that they're rotating until I hit space, then this condition is true. Now it is false because I am no longer holding space. True, false. Okay, this one shows the visible, okay, and the visible property. So what this says is if my mouse, okay, if B, so B is the world mouse X, okay, so the B's X follows me, okay. I have not set the Y, or the Y does not change, okay. And you can make that change. So what that does is when the B is greater than 200, its visibility here is false. When my mouse moves close to the flower, which is less than 200, then the visibility of my B becomes true right here. Okay? This is the visibility property. Okay, here you just, here on Puzzle 8, you will take a look at different ways that keys can react. Here, this key down, okay, the up arrow. The key down, we know that, okay, this is true. And that's when I'm holding the key down, okay? When I let go of that, it goes back to false because I'm not holding it down. Okay, here in your instructions it says, what do you think the exclamation mark on line 10 does? Okay, notice that I am not holding the down arrow. So this is set to true. So it basically reverses this condition. Okay, when I do hold the down arrow, it gives me false instead of true. So right now this down arrow is in essence true until I actually do hold it down and it gives me a false condition here. Okay, key went down, key went up. And this is going to be really, really quick. Okay, so as I hit the left arrow key, it goes to true very, very, very quickly, okay? Because it is only only recording or only looking for when that key was pressed. The difference in key down and key went down is that key down is constant while the key is holding down. Key went down, okay, even though I'm still holding down the left arrow, okay, it only looks for that quick click. And then over here, key went up. I am holding the right arrow down right now, but nothing happens until I release. Okay, it's looking for that key to be released, and then the action happens. Okay, as soon as it's released, it's really slow. It is false. Or, I'm sorry, it goes to true. Okay, so here we start to deal with mouse clicks. So constantly my blue's Y is increasing. When I click the mouse, my Y decreases by 15 pixels. If I just click that mouse over and over and over again, it'll go up and off the screen. But as long as I am not clicking that mouse, and here this is no different than keyboard clicks, mouse went down, notice the camel case. Otherwise, the else, if it's false, the mouse is not down, that balloon is falling, appears to be falling. Okay, we'll take a look at velocity in a later chapter, or a later lesson, to make this look more realistic. Okay. No new properties here, but mouse went down. Okay. So this one is counting clicks. I have a variable called clicks. Okay, right now it's set to 0. Okay, I have text here. The text is my clicks variable here. Okay, if I wanted it to actually say clicks, this would need to be in quotation marks. Okay, so if mouse went down, left mouse here, then clicks, this number is clicks plus 1. So every time I click the mouse, that number increases. Okay, last puzzle here. A lot of different things going on here. So this salt shaker, every time that I move my mouse, it shakes the salt. Okay, but we are creating another variable. It's counting behind the background. We don't even know it. And I've created a variable called shake count. Right now the shake count is 0. If the mouse did move, okay, my salt is rotating. My shake count is shake count plus 1. Every single time the mouse moves, it is adding 1 to my shake count. When my shake count gets greater than 100, then the salt is going to turn right side up because we're out of salt. There we go. Okay, so a lot happening behind the scenes that you don't even see. So that's it for lesson 12 and 13. Again, pause this video at any time, add to it, mess around with it, take a look at your game, see what you can add and apply to that. Email me at any time with any questions, and be ready to ask questions on Thursday in our Zoom.